Adriana with Jack's Mom in Austin, and I'm here with
Colleen McKeska.
Yay from Women Craft Austin, or ATX, right?
Yes.
And we're here to talk about placentas and placenta encapsulation. I guess I'll let Colleen start. If you want to start, you want to just start chat about yourself. Let us know.
Totally ready to go.
I know.
Okay. Well, my name's Colleen McKeska. My business is Womancraft Austin, and I basically like to help women have more comfortable pregnancy and postpartum. So I do pre and postnatal massage and also placenta encapsulation. And these are two things that I think can really help women and pregnant people to take better care of themselves, therefore take better care of their babies. And that really is the goal, to feel healthier and happier. And today we're going to be talking about encapsulation because it is one of those things that a lot of people have a lot of questions about. They don't understand what it is or how it works, or maybe you think it's gross or you don't know how it's safe, sort of all these weird things, and it's hard to find someone to ask. So we're just going to talk about sort of the generals, the specifics, how it works for you, the reported benefits, what the process looks like, and then we'll also be answering live questions.
Which is awesome, because I know I have questions, so I'm sure a lot of you guys have questions as well, and we'll definitely answer any that come in as you guys submit them. Later on, just as a reminder, I will be doing a follow-up blog post, and it will be on YouTube as well if you guys want to watch this later, and I'll make it easy for you all to view. If you do ask a question, I'll go ahead and list the timestamp for it when we answer it, so you don't have to sit through an entire half hour or 45 minutes of however long this ends up being. You can actually just go to wherever your question is. Sorry, I'm a little wheezy right now. I'm recovering, I guess, from severe allergies. So if I sound funny, sorry about that. Hopefully you can still hear me clearly.
I think everyone is in a perpetual state of recovering from
Austin
allergies.
I know, it's so bad. So I guess we can go on to... We have an outline that we're trying to go by, and so bear with us as we go through this outline. But yeah, so you already talked a little bit about yourself.
I can just talk about what is placenta encapsulation.
Yes, answer that. That's a good one.
So just the very basics. What is placenta encapsulation, or what is placenta consumption? And basically, placenta encapsulation is a way to consume your placenta after you have a baby that is probably more palatable to a lot of women than eating it raw. Placenta consumption is something that almost all mammals do. Mammals who eat meat, herbivores, like almost all mammals do it. It's and was that? Oh, did we have a ping? Okay.
Other pings.
Other pings. Placenta consumption is something that almost all mammals do, and so, and the reported benefits of placenta encapsulation are increased milk supply, increased energy, less bleeding, fewer mood swings, overall just feeling more balanced. There are no large-scale studies on placenta encapsulation or consumption, and so the information that we have is purely anecdotal. So this is the information that we get after talking to women who actually consume their placenta, and most of them really enjoy the benefits. Let's see.
And I definitely think it's something that you don't lose out, I feel like, if you try. I mean,
they're really, as long as the placenta is stored safely and prepared safely, then I really don't know of it doing any harm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I've heard as well. So
you really don't have a lot to lose by doing it, for sure. Let's see. Did I bring my books? Let's see. Okay.
I guess and nobody has any questions, I have questions, so I will ask them. So how does it work? Like, what's the process behind, how do you encapsulate it?
Yeah, how do you encapsulate it? Why did I not bring my plush placenta?
Oh, you have a plush placenta?
I do. Of course I have a plush placenta.
These things exist. Plush placentas.
Yeah. So basically, first I'll explain some reasoning behind why we believe encapsulation works and why it can benefit women. And basically, you become pregnant, you grow your baby, and you also grow your placenta. In your placenta, everyone sort of knows what a placenta looks like. It's it's round, it's connected to the umbilical cord, it has an imprint on it of the veins that make it look like the tree of life. So you're growing this big, beautiful organ, and it becomes an endocrine organ. So it actually starts producing hormones. hormones that a lot of times your brain produces, but instead your placenta starts producing them. So it's producing prolactin and progesterone and oxytocin and all these hormones that help you cope with the pain and stress of pregnancy and childbirth.
Exciting.
So, and when you're 38, 40 weeks, when you're full-term pregnant, your hormone levels, some are 3 to 4 times what they are normally, and some are 1,000-fold higher than what they are on a normal day when you're not pregnant. So you give birth to your baby, you give birth to your placenta, and all of a sudden you lost that endocrine organ. So you're not producing those hormones at the same rate you were before. And so it takes a few weeks for your brain to get the memo to start producing those hormones that help you cope with stress and pain. And so that's why almost all women have baby blues after baby is born. So we're not even talking about postpartum depression. We're just talking
basic.
about baby blues. You know, that first week after baby is here, you're exhausted from labor, birth, you're recovering from cesarean section, you've been up every hour or 2 hours, you're completely overwhelmed. Go back to that place. Imagine how you felt.
We get to do it again.
And so consuming the placenta is a way to replenish those hormones along with iron, because in even any normal birth, you're going to lose a lot of blood. Helps replenish those, and that's why we think, or that's where the connection is between the reported benefits of encapsulation and how it actually works. And so how encapsulation works is the placenta is taken, so I pick the placenta up from wherever you give birth. It's actually a really simple process here in Texas.
Now, it used to not be. I remember.
Yes. Now you legally have the right to take your placenta from any hospital, birth center. Home birth, of course, is really easy. There's a few different hospitals do it differently, but it's still fairly easy across the board. So I pick the placenta up. I take it to my dedicated space. So I have a space that's not my kitchen, it's not your kitchen, it's a separate dedicated space that is only used for placentas. So
that's nice.
Yes. So there's no animals going in and out, no food, no kids, nothing like that. So it's much easier to sanitize and keep control over the environment. The placenta is cleaned. So it's washed, it's cleaned, it's drained of excess blood. Then it's steamed, so it goes in the dehydrator, it's cooked, it goes in the steamer and it's cooked through. And then the placenta is cut up and dehydrated. And those pieces dehydrate overnight so that all the moisture is gone. Okay. The dehydrated pieces are then ground up and put into little capsules.
About how many capsules do you end up getting? It depends, or?
Yeah, so it depends, and you know, placentas, they're usually about a pound in size, but some are bigger, some are larger. Mm-hmm. You usually get around 140, 150 capsules, but you know, sometimes it's 120, sometimes it's 180. So.
Awesome. Okay, that's a good amount.
Yeah, but it's usually at least over 100. Usually maybe a bit more.
Okay, that's awesome. And I will say, if this is not for you, I did have a friend that was very adventurous, and Jamie, if you are watching, she actually just took hers home and froze it, and then cut it up and put it in a smoothie every morning. So if you would like to be adventurous with your placenta and have it in a smoothie every morning, that's another option, but I kind of like this option a little bit more, so I'll most likely be doing this.
Yeah, and the smoothies are an option. A lot of people like the pills, though, because you can control the dose that you're taking more. So you can really taper up or down from taking 1 or 2 pills a day to 6 or 7 pills a day, as opposed to just having to take that chunk that you already cut up. And then also it's just more palatable to a lot of people, and also it's more shelf stable, so those pills will last a long time.
That's awesome. I saw that you also do like an oil or something
a tincture.
A tincture, yeah.
Yeah. So we also can make a placenta tincture. So placenta tincture is like any other tincture. We basically put a piece of raw placenta into a 4-ounce jar of Everclear, and that. So if you want to party, but the Everclear is the really high alcohol content, so no bacteria will grow since it's a piece of meat, basically. And so, in that tincture, it'll sit and steep for about 6 weeks. You shake it once a week, and then it's ready to go. So that tincture will last actually through menopause. So that's a lot of women will keep it for either when their cycle returns or menopause. So if you can keep track of it for
that
a
long.
couple decades.
Yeah.
Just keep it in your bathroom,
Wow.
shelf. It can really help.
That is crazy. That is kind of awesome.
Or also, when your pills have a lot of, so some women will use their pills up really immediately in those first few weeks postpartum. They're really good or really consistent about taking, they'll take maybe 6 a day for the first couple weeks, and they'll go down to 4 a day and then 2 a day, sort of taper themselves off, but finish all of them. And then, of course, some women don't always finish it and they have a bunch left over, but those pills will stay, they're shelf stable, and those are something that you can also take later on when your toddler is driving you crazy, if that ever happens.
Oh, it never does.
Or, again, when your cycle returns, like all those things.
Awesome. And we have one comment from Bethany, who I'm going to plug really quick. I'm going to be working with her later, so those of you who have sleep questions later, this is your lady.
Oh, Bethany is the sleep guru?
Yes. So she's going to be on in the future, and she wrote, I strongly recommend doing this. I didn't do it until my 3rd kid, and it made a huge difference as far as mood and milk supply, and that's amazing. She also has a question, and it's, what is the benefit of a tincture versus pills? I've done pills before.
Yeah, and so tincture versus pills, you can absolutely have both. So you don't have to have just one or the other. In the tincture, it's just a little piece of placenta that goes in there, so the rest of the placenta is encapsulated. And so the pills are good because they're a little bit more potent and you can take more of them. The tincture is better for just being shelf stable and lasting a longer time. So like I said, that's something that you could take in a few decades when you go through menopause.
Which is awesome. I still can't get over that it'll last that long. That's crazy.
Yeah, we'll get you a tincture.
Yeah, I know. I will be having the tincture as well. Okay. I'm just adding to this list as we go. Another cool thing that I saw is that you can get flavored capsules, right?
Yes.
And I think that might be important because, come on, it's placenta. You're eating your body part.
Yeah. I get it. Some people are a little grossed out or maybe even horrified at the thought of eating their placenta, and I completely understand that. That's a great reason to go with encapsulation because you don't have to deal with any of it. You don't have to see it. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to touch it. You can see as much or as little of the placenta as you like. I do always offer to take photos of it because a lot of women are interested in seeing it after baby is born. But I totally respect if you're not into that. So, what were we talking about?
Big curiosity. The capsules.
Oh, the capsule, the flavor capsules. Yeah. If you have a sensitive stomach or you're like not quite sure how you feel about taking a placenta pill, then we have flavored capsules. So I have strawberry and I have mint flavored gelatin capsules. And those are nice. You don't actually taste them unless you let them dissolve on your tongue, which of course you're not really going to be doing, but what they help with is the burps, because some placentas have a stronger odor than others, and so sometimes if you take a big whiff, that may be a little bit off-putting, but those flavored caps help to cover the odor, and then you'll also sometimes get burps. So like if you take a fish oil and the fish oil isn't flavored and so some women are more bothered than that by others. It's not a huge deal, but it is an option if you have a sensitive stomach.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I guess if no one has questions, I'm going to keep asking you questions.
Yes, no, that's good.
So aside from the capsules, I guess I'm curious, like, you mentioned that, animals do eat it, but where did it, I guess, originate? Like, how, like, do other people do it? Do other countries,
So there are all sorts of references and legends about using and consuming placentas. And so in most cultures, the placenta was, even if it wasn't necessarily eaten, it was respected in some way after birth. So there are all sorts of different traditions in different cultures, like, mom would eat half the placenta and then half the placenta would be buried under the doorstep, or grandma had to bury the placenta on the west side of the house, or dad had to throw the placenta out at sea. So there are all sorts of different things like that, and basically just paying homage and respect to this organ that helped to feed and nourish your baby. The placenta is like no other organ. You grow it for when you need it. It does a really important job, and then your body just discards it. It's really interesting. It's like no other organ. It's like
That's
really
so crazy.
really crazy. And so they're it has been eaten in some cultures. Some people will eat it ceremoniously. You may have heard in the ethers of the internet about people like barbecuing a placenta or making tacos, something like that. So people do it. All types of people do all types of things. I personally would rather keep my placenta just for myself and for my benefit and postpartum recovery, but that's one way to celebrate it. Placenta has been used in over 1,400 years in traditional Chinese medicine.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's in a lot of Chinese herbal blends. When for some reason a client can't encapsulate their placenta, maybe they had an infection or the hospital discarded it, then I like to send them to an acupuncturist or Chinese herbalist because they can make postpartum blends that are helpful for mom.
Okay.
And sometimes that does actually include animal placenta.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about, I guess, taboos, I'm sure some women would want to know. Like, I was curious. So a lot of you that read or follow the blog know that I have gestational diabetes, which pretty much just means that I need a little more help with insulin because my placenta, it makes me create too much of it, I believe, and it also protects the baby. So the baby has no issues with insulin. It's regulating it so well that the rest of my body is not. That being said...
Super baby.
Yeah, it's a super baby. That being said, the placenta isn't affected by insulin or, I guess, lack thereof. And I know for some women that might be a question, could they still encapsulate their placenta if they have, gestational diabetes or...
Yeah, so, and that, I get that question a lot. And so, because the placenta does have something to do with gestational diabetes and how the body processes sugar and insulin, but consuming the placenta after birth does not lead to those same effects or insulin resistance or anything like that, because the placenta plugged into the body and working as with the body as a whole is going to work differently than when it's just on its own and it's basically and it's just its own thing. So there's no contraindication for consuming placenta if you had gestational diabetes. The only time that you really don't want to consume the placenta is if you get some sort of infection in labor. And so that usually comes from your water being broken for a long time, and you'll get an infection called choreo. And that's something that the doctors and the nurses are aware of. And if there are any, that's something we talk about. If you have any signs of infection, then it's not safe to continue on. But other things like, and let's see.
We have some positive...
Women's bodies do rock. They are amazing. Happy Friday, Ashley.
Thanks, Ashley. She will also be one of my people later. We have all the hosts today.
Yeah, and so, some of the other questions about, is it safe? A lot of women ask, is it safe to consume the placenta if I had Pitocin, if I had an epidural, if I had cesarean birth? And absolutely it is. Placenta does not... Although the placenta does work to filter nutrients for the baby, placenta doesn't store those things, and so placenta is more like lungs, so it can help nutrients get to the baby, but it doesn't just store the things that are not going to baby. Those are then transferred to mom's liver and kidney to be filtered out through her organs. So it's not just holding on to antibiotics or or Pitocin or pain medication or whatever you may have consumed. The one thing placenta has been shown to hold on to is heavy metals, and so that would be present if you were a smoker.
Okay.
So there are not many moms who are still smokers, but if you were a smoker, that could also be a contraindication for placenta encapsulation. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I know a lot of you there are two of you that are viewing right now. I know a lot of people work right now, but you all, I think you guys have kids. Do you guys have any just curious questions? I don't know if you're going to have more babies or not, but I know for me this was really I was super curious. So I really lucked out meeting Colleen and getting these questions answered. Because when you look in the internet, it's really hard.
It is weird. I get it. I'm not offended. It's super weird.
But it's cool at the same time because it's kind of giving moms an alternative, for after birth. And it's something that's natural. It's something that we made. and I think there might be an attachment too, because like for me, we weren't quick with the whole placenta thing the first time. I didn't know that you had to liberate your placenta.
You didn't know you needed a court order?
Exactly, for something that my body worked so hard to make. So that was really frustrating. And it was kind of sad, just, it's all over and done. You birth this baby and everything's gone. It's just, there's no, I don't know, there's an attachment to it, and it's just... It's sad.
It's baby's first friend. I mean,
it's
what baby's basically looking at and hanging out for the whole time. And I really suggest if you are unsure about encapsulation, you're sort of on the fence and you can't decide, and then all of a sudden you're in labor, you can still save your placenta and just bring it home, put it in your freezer.
Oh, wow.
And then if in a week or so you decide, I am having a rough time, I would like it to be encapsulated, it can safely be thawed and then processed.
That's awesome.
It's really easy. If you're at a birth center, you just bring a cooler with you and you bring your placenta home. If you're at a hospital, Seton or St. David's, you go in, you just tell them you're saving your placenta. No one looks at you funny anymore. You sign a waiver. And that's yours. So if you're at St. David's, you're going to need to bring a cooler with you and some bags to fill with ice. And if you're at Seton, they'll hold it for 72 hours in the freezer, and then it'll be released. But generally, it's a fairly easy process. You just want to be aware. You want to remember it is a piece of meat, and it's an organ meat. So treat it like a very expensive piece of meat, and you want it to be on ice or refrigerated within 2 to 3 hours of birth.
Okay.
Just so that it's safe from a food safety standpoint.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Let's see. We have a question from Ashley. Has anyone researched freezing the organ then using it during menopause?
Let's see. I don't think anyone has researched that because there's just not a lot of research on placenta encapsulation. And I would assume, though, that just freezing just the placenta for, 20, 30 years is probably not going to want to consume. There'd probably be a fair amount of freezer burn after that many decades. But what I would definitely suggest for that would be the tincture. And so we talked about a tincture a little bit earlier on, and that's a way to preserve some of the placenta that is safe to take for decades. And really, your placenta capsules, so not the placenta itself, but the placenta capsules. I always tell women, the idea is that you use them immediately in these first few weeks and months postpartum when your body needs it. But if you have some left over, you can save them in the freezer. No one is sure exactly how effective those capsules would be in 20 years because some of the nutrients may degrade. But at least from a food safety standpoint, they should be. They should be because they're completely dehydrated. So, but I definitely get a tincture for menopause.
Yeah, that sounds cool. That's crazy. Someone needs to do more studies on this. More studies need to be done. Let's see. What else do we have?
So I have another question I get a lot, which is, isn't all the good stuff cooked out?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's one a lot of people ask about. But just like your meat and veggies at dinner or any other meal still retain nutrients after they're cooked, so does your placenta. And actually, we've been cooking meat and organ meat specifically because they're so nutrient dense for thousands of years, and cooking them, adding heat actually helps us to digest them better. So there is some evidence that we humans digest meat better when it's cooked. So that's another reason that some women prefer to encapsulate versus consuming raw. And also in Eastern medicine and in Ayurvedic medicine, they believe that it's really important to warm the body after birth. They believe that moms lose a lot of their chi, that life force and that energy, and so it's really important to add warmth so that can be rebuilt.
That's crazy.
Because you do feel depleted after birth.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a lot of...
no matter how you give birth, it's a lot of work, no matter what you do.
You're giving me a lot of reminders right now for number 2.
I'll keep reminding you. Yeah.
I think, let's see, what else? Do we have anything else? Anyone else with questions? I'm trying to think of questions I had. I feel like most of them have been answered. Do you get any really weird questions?
No, I mean, it's for a lot of people, I think it's just
you're gonna do it or not. Yeah.
Just sort of getting over that initial, like, what? But Really, it's something that biologically makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
you know, and like I said, there are no large double-blind studies for or against, so the information that we have is anecdotal. But really, I mean, when I check in with women after dropping off the capsules and asking them, most of the time it really is, they feel a marked difference. So, you know, like I said, reported benefits are increased energy, increased milk supply, feeling less weepy, less hormonal shifts, just feeling overall more balanced, just a little bit, sort of smooth the edges over, you know. And it's you still need to have your postpartum plan. You know, you still need to be aware of warning signs of postpartum depression and things like that. But encapsulation, a lot of women report that it just helps smooth that transition to parenthood when for those 2 or 3 weeks or months you're just turned upside down, you're just treading water, so it can help with that, you know. It's absolutely, it's not you can't promise that it's a cure-all, but most of the time it is really helpful and beneficial.
Awesome. That sounds great. So I will be the guinea pig for those of you who in a few months want to check back and see how crazed or not crazed I am. We'll find out. I think other than placenta encapsulation, Colleen also does a couple of things, I guess. Well, I guess
mainly massage.
Massage, yeah.
I worked as a doula for many years, and I've ended that. I'm no longer attending births, so now I just do the fun stuff on either side that really just, you know, I don't think you should have to suffer through pregnancy and postpartum. A little bit of relief can go a long way.
Yes, I totally agree.
Even if you just be slightly less uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's so true. And I mean, I didn't have issues with Jack, not back issues or anything, and I am having them now. And I went to Colleen, and that was awesome. That was a really good decision that we made together to get a nice massage. So I definitely recommend the massage if you guys are just uncomfortable. Even if you're not uncomfortable, it's nice to do something for yourself before that kiddo gets here, because once they get here, you pretty much go out the window until you check back in with yourself a year down the road, and you're like, crap.
Where'd I go?
Where'd I go? Yeah, I need to do something for me. I think, let's see, anything else you want to add?
Let's see. I think that those are most of the frequently asked questions I get. I have a lot of info on my website. I do have a few blogs up there that are more evidence-based. So we have some of the articles that are not large double-blind studies, but some of the smaller studies. I reference those in some of my blogs about the reported benefits of encapsulation. So definitely go check it out. I have a few different packages on there, so you can pick and choose what's right for you. You know, it's really easy to book online. I've got an online contract, spells everything out, and then if we do work together, I'll send you a PDF with specific directions for how to have your placenta easily released from the hospital and things like that. But if you have any questions, just let me know, because I know it's a little weird to some.
It is a little bit weird. But I think once you get used to it, I mean,
it's not weird to me anymore. But.
Exactly, yeah. And I think knowing that I wanted to do it the first time, this time it's not weird for me. I just want to do it. And I love that I'll be able to. If you guys have any questions, if you want to know exactly where you can look up her information, I'm going to add links to this post, the blog post that I'll be publishing with this, and also on YouTube. So you'll be able to find a lot more information there. Other than that, I think we're okay. We're good.
Yeah.
Well, it was good talking to you guys. I'm about to cough, so I'll let Colleen finish.
Bye, y'all.
Sorry, guys. All right, you guys have a good day.
Have a good weekend.